So here we are in March, a run of a few really nice days, and we've done some mowing down here, which we couldn't do before because it was so wet. It's getting quite busy here. I've put in more broad beans here, so some are coming through and some will come through. Over there is, I've put kind of blanket on my compost box over there to try and heat it up somewhat more. I've added more old chippings. Over here you can't really see it, but just where this ridge is, you can see it's kind of dip. It's actually a trench, and I've put in more on the raised beds here. There's still more to go. I want to do quite close planting. You can't see it all, but there's more onions in here, hidden because they just went in recently, and I will interplant. I mean, you can see a lettuce popping up here, but that is actually from last year. Even with the winter we had, which wasn't so cold, so things pop up willy-nilly like the lettuce. Further on there's more onions. You can see the green shoots popping up here, and there's also radish here coming through, and further back here is onions. The spinach and kale are coming back from the autumn. I had so many onions that in between the garlic here I've just planted onions here. I don't even think with this heat it really needs that covering. I've just stuck some carrots in. These are grapevines. I'm hoping they'll come through. I transplanted, so they may have gone into shock. Oh yes, I can see it now. Rhubarb. That I found someone had left it, so I've stuck that in. The Victorians used to use it as a kill off pests, but we don't do it now because it's quite poisonous apparently, so I wouldn't do it, but I'm just mentioning it as an aside. Later on, I believe, if I remember correctly, I haven't grown it much, but you cover it in, I think, in autumn to get the rhubarb to stretch. But I just thought, as it was there, I'd put it in. Over here I've put in spinach, but you can't see it because it just went in recently. But I will pack in as much as I can, because I've come to the conclusion the more you pack in, you interplant, the less weeds you get. There is a kind, I haven't done much in the cage yet, but I intend to put in a lot of brassica from the cabbage family. What's covered there are parsnips and beetroot. Parsnips are a funny thing. They do say sow them in March, but they actually take a long time to germinate. So I've done some backup trays in the greenhouse here. Yeah, I actually, just for fun, sowed some radicchio, if I remember correctly. I have to remind myself, that's why I have the labels there. Radicchio chicory, that's it. There's a net over the greenhouse now because I saw things were beginning to really dry up. But what is being filmed now is something called Asturian tree cabbage. The thing about Asturian tree cabbage is that they're a perennial, and they grow this huge trunk, and they keep going over a number of years, maybe even 5 or 6, but they don't form a head. What they do, you just harvest the leaves and they keep going, and they grow about a metre tall. In the corner here is a mound with a thermometer that isn't working properly, but what's in that mound, I don't have much room here, but it is fresh manure, chippings, and I won't mention the other thing because it's, but anyway, it's likely to warm up even more so than anything else. So that's why I've put some of the pots there to get natural heat, because I'm trying to do more without underground heating, or I've mentioned that before. There are also leeks in here, leeks somewhere. There's leeks over there, you can see them actually, there's a picture of them and they're coming through. Kale seeds here, but they've just been sowed, so it's early days. Coming outside, I haven't moved things around a bit. The chaos is clearing itself. We have a toolbox which was a bit of a nightmare to put together, so I had help. So my tools are in here. This is just the beginning of the season for many people. I can't work like that. I have to have things going all the time, and projects. And I want vegetables all through the year, more and more, because prices are going up. And we hear so much about pesticides. Oh, there's one thing I will mention about brassica, the cabbage family. It almost has a religious connotation, because when you cut the head, and a few people not that many seem to know about it, but when you cut the head, if you do a slit or a cross in the head, little cabbages, bulbs will appear. So you actually can leave the cut cabbage plant in the soil and still get a crop. So I've done trenches here, just over here. You don't have to do trenches with potatoes. Some people just do a hole of 6 inches and they just stick them in the hole. I prefer trenches, which is the traditional way, because I find it easier to cover the potatoes after, and when they come through, I recover them, what they call hoeing up, because of the frost. If we get frost, we may not get it now, but I'm just putting in early potatoes, and if we get a frost, then it's best to cover the green shoots, also to stop potatoes going green. When it is covered, if find I've got space, I might even interplant a quick crop like radish and lettuce or something of that type, if I find I've got space, because it takes potatoes quite a time to mature when they have the flower. I think maybe I'd get on with actually putting the potatoes in. That you're only getting the company, but
oh, I see.
There's Charlotte, Swift, Rocket. It's a very quick process. There's a debate going on whether to chit or not chit early potatoes. They are coming through the shoots. You'll see them, and you plant them with the shoots upward. But it is said about early potatoes, no need to chit. My later ones are coming through with bigger chits, growth. I just go ahead and put them in really with the shoots, upwards for the most. Okay, so I'm just basically doing the 12 inches apart. I normally just use my hand, but they don't stay like this, they get covered soon after. I have my hoe here. The stick itself? Oh, that's just as a measurement. Sometimes I just use my hand. It's more or less 12 inches apart. The later potatoes are planted 15 to main crop 18. So you can see the shoots are up. It's a good day today because it's dry, and I feel the soil has dried out. I was a bit worried. then there'll be the covering. Now there's different ways of people treat potatoes. I once heard these chaps that they said that, oh, we never water. I do water, but there's a dilemma, because if you water from on top, you're doing the same as the rain does, which brings the blight. So I'm thinking this year to try putting in drip pipes and water from underneath. So this has just worked out actually, because this is one type. Of course, with growing, people can come back and say, oh, you don't do it that way, you do it this way. So, but each to their own. I like this way, and it's worked for me. So instead of, because I couldn't find my marker, I'll use this and come back with a marker. Of course, when I cover, although I'm placing them more or less with the shoots up where I can, they will roll and maybe turn in the soil, but can't have everything precise. That's working out all right. So now at this point I'm going to cover them, so it doesn't take long. And then, as I said, I'll come back and cover them again when they start to show green shoots. So this is hoeing up, and then I'll come back and take more. You don't need a heavy covering now, as long as they're covered. I'm also covering the gaps in between, because it would look pretty weird. And anyway, they spread their roots. Now this, having said I dug so well, this white shoot is bindweed, which goes everywhere. And even if I was going over to no dig, which is, they say, put down cardboard, put down straw, chippings, all that. If I started a new plot, as I told my Italian friend, I would still dig it over and get out the bindweed, and then I would switch over to not digging after I'd got out the bindweed. Here it is again. This is bindweed, and it's a bane of everyone's life. They do say if you keep cutting it, it will stop after a while. It will just weaken. But I think this bindweed, further on, I don't think I'll find it, because it's coming in from the grass. There's a bit more here. So I'll still have plenty of soil to cover again if and when I need to. There's still some leeks in the ground. I'll try and avoid them if I can. They're not that sturdy. I hope I get better leeks this year. I actually like it like this when I form ridges here. I also think it helps channel the water. That's just a theory. Yes, I had quite a good crop from the spinach here. And it's still, this is from last year. And I was asked by my U3A group, can they buy potatoes and onions in a supermarket and plant them? I told them people do that, but I think it's risky because they can have a virus. These are certified, checked, and these are, I think they're Scottish actually, so I know I'm putting in healthy potatoes. The next lot, the main, I'll probably put in the rows in mid-April. Oh, they're onion sets. So I'm gonna actually plant a row or two depending on the time, and all I'm doing, I don't do fancy measurements, I just use my hand. These are red onions. It's normally said you plant them 3 inches. Normally I have a pot here, but I just pour them into the pot. I'll come back with a net. The reason I come back with a net is I'll try not to spread these all over the place. As I say, I normally have I come back with a net because the birds are very naughty, and they pull them out. So we're gonna, until they show a green stuff, a green shoot. Sorry, I leave the net on. Someone else might say, "Oh, you can plant closer together." Well, you can. Depends how big you want them, really. And I might again interplant between them some lettuce or something here. I once saw an Indian gentleman on a different site planting onions, and what he did, rather a Sikh gentleman, he just chucked them along the row and then just popped them in where they fell. Well, each to their own. Right, I'll do one more row. I'm doing 12 inches. Well, that's a rough 12 inches. I won't water them yet, but I will, if this persists, I will. The last time I did plant here, it wasn't a very good crop, but since then I've added mulch, spent chippings, so I'm hoping it'll pick up. Oh, I'll leave this here so I know what I've done. I'll put 2 labels in to remind me, and come back with a marker. Otherwise, you don't see them, you don't know where they are. Okay, I think that's about it here. The thing is, there's I think the word in English is hiatus. So it's a bit of with growing, there's a kind of waiting period at times. But I will come in with lettuce, quick growing stuff, lettuce and radish. Pak choy apparently likes cool weather. Maybe a bit more spinach in places, maybe here. See, we missed it. The robin was having a search for the onion set. So I better come. Oh, I've got a net here, actually. I will cover that. It knew already what I was doing, because I get that in the garden. They follow me and they keep a check what I'm doing. They know exactly. I turn the compost, they're there. All I'm doing is nothing fancy. I'm just throwing it on. Maybe I'll throw stone on. You can see a stone there. So they don't throw it out. I thought they wouldn't touch the raised bed, and they did. They started pulling out there. And as soon as the green shoots come through, I will take this off. I don't like nets myself. And then I realised something else, because I run and cover brassica, the cabbage family, immediately. And what I realised is that there's periods when they're, I think, anyway, it's a theory, they're not hungry now, except for the robin pulling out the onions for fun. So they don't go for it. It's when they've got less food, I think that's when you need to cover. So those are the things I'll be doing, just short span crops, that lettuce and radish. So I think basically that's it. I get impatient with the waiting period, but it's the way it is. You work with the season. Oh, and I will throw in some chard. Forgot about that. That's chard down there. That's come through from last year. Can't conjure up too much more. I did put a little bit of lettuce, but it's only a smaller amount, on my wife's raised bed. She likes flowers, so I did it in a kind of circle over there. I have covered them because she wanted them covered. Oh, I see the net's fallen down, but it doesn't matter. It's probably the wind. So yeah, her radish here, they're not done too badly. Yeah, I can see it came. It's the wind that blew it, but she wanted a net over. She's worried about. So I did a little circle. Maybe I'll give it a little bit of water actually. So I just put in more. Oh, they're coming through actually. Just here. I added more onion sets here with her here. I'd also raked this area. There's still a lot of stones. But they're coming through quite quickly. I'm a bit surprised. I'll just give them a bit of a water. Maybe they are drying out, because I think these raised beds. Yeah, so again, rainwater is better than anything else. We will turn on the water I basically do it with someone else helping in the 1st of April, and that's not a joke. This is it for March, and I do hope you will grow yourselves, because we can see what's happening with the prices and the articles about how much chemical there are in vegetables. So much healthier to grow your own. And I hope this video helps you, because that's why I've agreed to do it, because I want people to grow their own and cultivate the soil and get closer to nature. And that's what's important to me. See you in April.